What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, coming to you a short 2 days after the last time we recorded, as it is Thanksgiving week. Hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving as you're listening to this on Wednesday. Getting your turkey prepped, making sure it's thawed in the refrigerator, not putting a frozen turkey in the deep fryer, people. No need to start your house on fire and burn it all down on one of the best holidays of the year. Be safe. Eat your mashed potatoes. Joining me to talk about the Packers matchup on this Thanksgiving holiday against the Miami Dolphins is my lovely co-host, Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
Hello, I'm thankful for this podcast. I'm thankful for the Packers. And I'm thankful for my co-host Numac for doing what he always does. Um, Pop quiz, hot shot. Favorite Thanksgiving portion? Like,
Portion?
because
Heaping.
people say size.
Heaping. That's my favorite portion.
Mount Everest.
Yeah.
No. Um, People say sides, but that obviously discounts turkey. And I'm here. I'm gonna let you answer. But we're gonna include turkey in
Are
this
you asking
because
my favorite part of my Thanksgiving plate?
yeah, favorite food.
What a great, what a great
Actually, don't answer
question.
this because
What a
don't answer this.
what a great question for you to ask, because this is the exact topic we are talking about tomorrow on GSPN After Dark. So if you're interested in my answer,
Yeah,
you can go subscribe for $8 a month and have no ads on any of our podcasts across all of your podcast platforms, and read all the articles we're writing over at the gspn.substack.com. So that is a tease for the GSPN After Dark. Go listen to it. $8 a month, and it's a side. It's not turkey or ham. It's a side as my favorite, and you'll find out
mm.
what it is tomorrow.
Get ham out of here.
I
Ham.
I like
Mm.
I like having both options, because some people in my family are not good at cooking turkey. And so if they happen to screw it up, I like having the ham to go to as a backup. And plus, I just like ham. Like I happily take like two hunks of ham and a couple pieces of turkey. And if it's dry, I drown that shit in gravy.
I got one suggestion for the Numox. Um, get someone else under control center with this turkey if it's not turning out well. You know what I mean?
I'm not fighting this battle.
I know, but I hear Numox.
Listen,
You never met me before, but I'm just telling you, if the turkey's subpar, it's not the turkey's fault. Okay.
all I'm saying is I like turkey. There are people who think it's a horrible bird. I would disagree. I think turkey is quite good.
Thank you.
But
I'm
I will
yeah,
say, during the pandemic, my wife and I, then girlfriend, or then
fiance.
yes, then fiance, I had to think of my timeline, had did Thanksgiving at home because of the pandemic. We didn't want to get sick and kill our grandparents and such. We made like a Tom or a Jake, a little turkey, like just the breast.
Oh, okay.
Like Tom is the adult turkey, Jake's are the adolescent turkeys. If you didn't know that,
I did not know
that's what
that.
they're called. Toms are the big guys with the fans. Jake's
So
are,
is that why Jimmy John's sub is called Turkey Tom?
yeah, that would make sense.
Or wouldn't it be Turkey Jake
No,
because it's
because
all breast?
no, because turkeys still have breasts, like big turkeys do. Regardless,
Continue with your point, please.
we made like one of the smaller turkeys, and I made it. Turned out phenomenal. It was moist. It was flavorful. I watched a couple of videos on how to do it, where you put like the compound butter between the skin and the meat and everything. It was delicious. It's not hard. But what I'm not doing is volunteering to cook it.
The butterball turkey
It was
style.
probably something like that. But
No. I'm saying like the normal size butterball turkey is very cumbersome.
yes, yeah. And so I'm not volunteering to do it, especially when I live in Milwaukee and my family's in Green Bay. I'm
Yeah.
not volunteering for that. And so I will smother it in gravy. or eat the ham. So, but to hear the rest of the Thanksgiving talk, go check out GSP After Dark. I promise you it's worth it. And if you subscribe and don't think it's worth it, you can personally DM me. That's what I'll say. DM
Okay.
me. Tell me your gripes because we want to hear them. We want to be better. We want to improve.
Do you know what my favorite part of Thanksgiving foods are?
If
My
you're
favorite
going to be
Thanksgiving.
on the pod tomorrow, I don't want to know actually.
No, I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
It's the cheese board.
Oh, look at that. A little bit of a segue from old Jordan Tresky. Look at you. Look at you. Packers 38 to 10 win over the San Francisco 49ers on on Sunday. A lot of cheese, a lot of cheeses to hand out this week. Just well, only three, but a lot of candidates for cheeses this week. We'll start it off with probably the obvious selection. Josh Jacobs, 26 carries, 106 rushing yards, and three touchdowns. Next up is Xavier McKinney, three tackles, all which were solo, two PBUs, including an interception. Then there's Quay Walker, seven tackles, six of which were solo, two tackles for a loss, and a pass breakup. Javon Bullard, seven tackles, six solo, three catches on four targets for 18 yards. So that's a pretty good day from him. Rashawn Gary, two tackles, one solo, one sack, and one forced fumble. Lucas Van Ness, two tackles, both of which were solo, a sack and a forced fumble and a QB hit. Keyshawn Nixon, three tackles, one forced fumble, and no targets thrown his way. So first and foremost, folks, Josh Jacobs getting a cheese. Just
Yeah, let's
absolutely
lock
has
it
to.
in.
Like just a great day for him. Um, Definitely worthy of the cheese. Jordan said that he knows his other two that he wants to nominate. I, on the other hand, am in the front seat of the struggle bus because if we didn't have the three cheese limit, I think all these guys deserve a cheese. Like it's a tough week for me to really figure out who I want to give one to. I feel like I have to give one to Xavier McKinney. I'm not saying that's like my choice, but like Xavier McKinney had the interception and an important pass breakup on fourth down. Like um that was good coverage from him. He had a couple of big tackles too. But then look at Quay Walker, who hasn't gotten one this year, has seven tackles. I think had the best game of his career. Frankly, like he played really well and uh almost came out of there with an interception that would have padded his stats even more than they already are. Like Javon Bullard was getting thrown at a couple times. He doesn't give up a whole lot of yards. Sean Gary had a sack and a forced fumble. Like all these guys just played so well today that I on Sunday I'm really struggling as to who I want to give these other two cheeses to. So who are your other two candidates, Jordan? I'm curious to see if I can just hop on your two and I'll be happy with that.
My locks are X and Quay. Um, Part of it is I think Xavier McKinney's interception and the fact that he essentially flipped the field too on the return, like that's not nothing. That changed the game. Everything else that we saw from that point on, not to denigrate or dismiss what, forced fumbles by Rashawn Gary and LVN, Keyshawn Nixon punching the ball out with McCaffrey. It just felt like at that point where Gabe was kind of in, you could say it was a game comfortably, and
Right.
that interception for how much it was brewing, getting it still matters, and putting the Packers in very good position to score was even better. So yeah, like I just think at that point in the game, it just kind of not that lesser, other plays are lesser than, but like I just felt like the urgency met the moment with Xavier McKinney breaking his two games schneid without having an interception, and maybe
Yes.
three,
I think 3 weeks because
two.
we had those
Yes,
Lions
of
Lions
course.
by Bears.
And then Quay, yeah, I think you kind of hit. If it wasn't his best game of his career, it's
Second.
one of two or three. Like it's not a high list, but certainly this year was by far his best game. I just think
Yeah.
they needed it, especially without Edrin Cooper in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just it was nice to see him not get walled up by 5-man blocking lines and
Yep.
kind of see him get downhill,
Mm-hmm.
wreak some havoc, like just
Mm-hmm.
meeting the ball at the precise moment where if you're tackling with Christian McCaffrey and kind of the run game was pretty a non-factor too, like in part because of Quay Walker. Like I just felt like his presence was felt all over the field. So yeah, both of those are my locks. Javon Buller was probably the guy that was sneaking in there. I think include the 3 catches on 4 targets, but when you factor in it was only 18 yards, it was like just kind of shows you know it wasn't they weren't getting damaged or taking on damage after the catch. Like they
Right.
they shut down those plays pretty quick.
Right.
But yeah, I would say he had his best game as a pro. It just I felt between the turnover that McKinney forced and Quay Walker's just best game of the season. It's kind of hard to kind of squeeze in there as good of a game that he had, and obviously reflected in his PFF grade.
Yeah. I'm fine with locking in those two.
Woo!
So, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, and Quay Walker. Um, again, the two free agent guys leading the way, leading the Packers to victory. So, kudos to Goody. Do we give Goody a cheese? What are your
Fuck
thoughts?
it, let's
Let's,
do it.
yeah. I think Goody deserves a cheese. What about Matt LaFleur?
He doesn't need a cheese because he's winning Coach of the Year.
I won't be so sure about that.
Yeah, yeah, it's probably gonna be O'Connell at this point, but
Yeah. Matt LaFleur should 1000% win it because he hasn't won it before. But
just wild.
I think Kevin O'Connell or Dan Campbell probably win that award this year.
Or
Or
if
or Dan
the
Quinn
yeah if that and if the Cardinals do
win the division.
win the division, maybe Mike McDonald too with the Seahawks.
Maybe.
Jonathan Gannon, undercover cop Jonathan Gannon with that
Maybe.
name. He's
I could also see
you
Sean
think
McDermott.
Sirianni?
No, I could see Sean McDermott winning it with how good the Bills have been after they were supposed to be bad this year. Not bad, but they were supposed to be worse than they were last year.
You weren't a believer.
I
That was
wasn't a
your problem.
believer. They sold off all their stuff, dude. They
What
got
stuff?
they got rid of Stephon Diggs. They lost he tore his ACL. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but I think at that point things had atrophied that they didn't. That was
That
not
right doesn't
necessarily.
mean he wasn't a good talent though.
I agree, but
I mean, look who he's throwing to. It's now Amari Cooper, but before that it was like Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Dalton Kincaid.
MVS, who's no longer on the team.
Right, but you know what I mean.
I don't think you need Stephon Diggs.
I'm not saying you do either. I'm just saying
I
that
mean,
it's a loss of talent. But yeah, I don't think.
it
I
is.
sadly think I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to win it. I think the expectation to which Kevin O'Connell and Jonathan Gannon have, oh, how much they've over exceeded their expectations and what they everyone expected them to be. I mean, hell, look at John. John Harbaugh could win Coach of the Year. He has turned that team
Or
around. And
Jim.
Jim Harbaugh, yeah, my apologies.
Is that? Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
meant Jim in L.A.
Sean Payton.
I mean, honestly, like
Yeah.
there's been a lot
Well,
of
you know what? We'll
there's
make it
been a
up to
lot of
Matt.
teams this
We'll
year.
give him a big cheese.
Yeah,
We'll give him the big cheese. That we'll make an award called the big cheese, and we'll give it to him. I'll do it.
that's funny.
I'll
Just
drop it off at his house
are you gonna
at
drop it
the
off
draft. During the
during training
draft.
camp like Ben Brust did?
POS.
A point of sale? Is that what you're trying to call him?
Yeah.
Good, good.
He could sail right off the Lake Michigan waters. That's what I'm telling him.
That's Wisconsin Badger legend Ben Brust you're talking about,
Yeah,
Jordan.
Badgers, what a legend.
Keith is gonna
I remember that national championship game where they
Keith is
freaking
going to
collapsed. And
Keith
they're
is
like,
going
hey, we're going to induct Bo Ryan into the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, for what?
Keith is going to have your ass,
I
Jordan.
know.
Also, Bo Ryan does belong in the Hall of Fame. I will I will stand by that one.
Not over. He was like a first. Not he was a first ballot. I shouldn't say
No, but he
that.
also is top 10 all time in college basketball wins. He definitely deserves to be there. But alas, to Keith's much dismay, this is not a Wisconsin Badgers podcast.
And
So,
if it was, it would just be me crapping on them all the time.
all right, let's get into some roster news and some notes. Only one of those this week. The Vikings signed linebacker Jamin Davis off the Packers practice squad. Something to watch as uh, Edgerrin Cooper and Isaiah McDuffie are still nursing injuries. So, um, obviously a elevation candidate with all the linebacker injuries, but hopefully we can get Edge back this week. I haven't seen much as of yet, but we'll get into the injury report in just a moment. So Packers face off against the Miami Dolphins. Uh, they are 6-10 against the Dolphins. One of the rare times I think we've seen a losing record for the Packers against the team. I can't really remember the
I
last
was.
time.
I had that same thought.
Um, But the Packers have won the last three meetings against the Dolphins, and they are 3-3 when hosting them at Lambeau Field. Um, and furthermore, the Packers are 15, 20, and 2 when playing on Thanksgiving. So hopefully we can keep the trend up from last year of the Packers winning on Thanksgiving. I did see a tweet that I wish I would have saved. The Packers haven't lost on a holiday in like 7 tries.
I think Matt LaFleur is undefeated on holidays, whatever that means.
Yeah, like it's been a couple Christmases, a couple Thanksgivings. I'd imagine you mix in. I don't even know what other day would be in there, but regardless, it's
Tight ends day.
tight ends day, undefeated on holidays. So hopefully we can keep that merry trend going. Um, the Dolphin season overall quickly they are 5-6 and are second place in the AFC East.
Woof.
The abysmal AFC East.
Yeah.
Um, 5-6. They have a negative 21 point differential. Despite that, they are on a 3 game winning streak after Tua Tagovailoa comes back from his concussion, um, with wins over the Rams, Raiders, and Patriots. And then before that, their previous wins came against the Jaguars and the Patriots. Their season's kind of a roller coaster right now. They start off 1-0 against the Jaguars and then proceed to lose 3 straight against the Bills, Seahawks, and Titans. Win against the Patriots, lose 3 straight to the Colts, Cardinals, and Bills, and then win 3 straight against the Rams, uh, Raiders, and Patriots. So they've got a bit of a not that hard a rest of the regular season. I was surprised that they got as easy schedule as they did this year because they were a playoff team last year, and so like they're maybe it was kind of just like front loaded, but they end the season with Packers, Jets, Texans, Niners, Browns, Jets. So um, fringe playoff team at best. I'm not really sure they'll make it just because of the slides they've had to go, and they probably lose at least 2 of the next 6 games that they're in. So um, furthermore, the combined record of the teams the Dolphins have beat this year are 12-33. So they're not beating quality teams. Uh, and then since Tua has returned from his concussion in week 7, he is 29 of 40, 317 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. Or no, I'm sorry. My apologies. That was his stat line last week against the Patriots. So my apologies. But he has been playing better since then. Since
You are
coming back.
correct. Sorry. Their playoff odds on NFL.com are currently 16%, and they are the first team out. So it just kind of shows you top seven
Who's
in the
7?
AFC. Denver.
Mm, that's tough.
Denver's 7-5.
And then who's 6?
Los Angeles Chargers.
Got it.
Um,
Oh, because the Chiefs are winning that division. Yeah.
yeah, Chiefs are winning that division, and then the Ravens are the first wild card because Steelers are.
Steelers have the tiebreaker.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
it's kind of
AFC was kind of weak to start the year, and then has since uh, kind of
Top
righted
heavy.
the ship. Yeah, kind of found its water level, and so yeah, I think it'll just be hard for the Dolphins to make it in. Sorry to my good buddy Aaron, who is a loyal listener. He's a Dolphins fan, but I would
Mhm.
be surprised if they do make it. But I think they have to win probably 5 of their last 6 in order to get in, because I don't see any of those teams falling off the way we've seen them play thus far. And since they're already at 6 losses, I don't think you make it going 9-8. And so,
It would take a lot of help from the likes of the AFC West teams like Denver and Chargers.
yeah,
You know,
right.
so and it would take the Dolphins taking care of business against their tougher opponents like the Packers.
The
But
Packers and the Niners.
Packers have 8 wins and their combined opponents that the Dolphins have beaten have 12.
Yeah,
So
it's tough. It's tough.
a
It's
little
tough.
tough.
They also get the Jets twice, which is nice. Like if they can if they can steal a game somewhere, I think they'll have a chance. But they play the Jets twice, and they play the Texans and the Browns. So like if you can win those 4, you're in a good spot as a Dolphins
They
fan.
could
But then
retire Aaron Rodgers.
oh, again, my good buddy Aaron would love that. He would have a wonderful time going through that. But all right, let's hop into the injury report. A long one for both teams this week. It's lengthy for sure. We'll start with the Packers. Jair Alexander, recovering from his PCL injury, did not participate in Tuesday's practice, although it was just a walkthrough. They did not practice on Monday because it was Monday after a game, and they had a walkthrough on Tuesday. So Monday's report is an estimation. Today's was just a walkthrough. Uh, Kenny Clark was a full participant. He was just resting, so no injury designation for his toe for him, which is encouraging. Hopefully, he can start producing as a healthy individual. That's not really shade, but just expecting him to do more. Edgerrin Cooper was a DMP both days with his hamstring injury. Romeo Dobbs with his concussion was a DMP both days. I don't think he's playing at all. Um, backup tight end John Fitzpatrick has a back injury. He was a DMP both days. Josh Jacobs with rest was limited in both days. Elton Jenkins was a full participant as a vet rest. Isaiah McDuffie has an ankle injury. He was a DMP both days. Um, Curiously, oh, never mind. I read it now. Xavier McKinney wasn't at practice on Tuesday. He had a personal reason. Um, Josh Myers has a pec injury. He was limited in both days, and Rasheed Walker was a full participant on Tuesday with a knee injury. I joked that Josh Myers hurt his pec getting absolutely truck sticked by Tucker Kraft on that
Yeah.
touchdown. Hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully he's good to go on Thursday, because as we saw against the Lions, EJ at center didn't really work. So here's to hoping Josh Myers is healthy and available, because we need him. Packers need him. So for the Miami Dolphins, same situation. Did not practice on Monday. Held a walkthrough on Tuesday. Uh, Tackle Teron Armstead has a knee injury. He was a DMP both days. Linebacker Tyus Bowser has a knee and a calf injury. He was a DMP both days, as was cornerback Kendall Fuller. Um, Calais Campbell had a rest day. He was limited on Tuesday. Julian Hill, their tight end, has a shoulder injury. He was a full participant both days. Tyreek Hill has a wrist injury and had a personal reason for being away. He was limited on Monday and did not participate on Tuesday. Safety Javon Holland has a hand and a knee injury. He was a full participant both days. Bayport alumnus Alec Ingold has a calf injury and was limited both days. Benito Jones, defensive tackle, had a shoulder injury. He was limited both days. Uh, Jalen Ramsey has hilarious designation knees,
Knees.
knees plural, limited both days for Jalen Ramsey. Anthony Walker Jr., a linebacker, has a hamstring injury. He was a DMP both days, and Isaiah Wynn, their offensive lineman, has a quad and a knee injury, limited both days. So that does it for the injury report. Obviously, like I said, it's long. Hopefully, all those guys can, for the Packers could suit up obviously for the Dolphins as well. Because I think first and foremost, just want a good game on Thursday. Like I don't think I'd be pleased as they let everything settle into its place at 7:30 on Thanksgiving evening, uh, watching a stinker. You always want just good football, right? So, all right, let's
Yeah,
get
because
it.
Lord knows we need it. But do you know the Thanksgiving schedule?
Yeah, it's Lions Bears on at 11, and then it's
Yes.
Cowboys Giants at
Just
3 at 2:30 or 3:30, whatever
I
time it
don't need
is.
to watch Tommy Turkey and
Tommy Turkey.
Turkey Tom. He's right there. And Cooper Rush. Like it's just I'm the
Do you want to
Lions
know? Do you want to know
are
what's crazy? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do
no,
you want to know
you're okay.
what's crazy? Is that both of those teams traded for backup quarterbacks, and neither of them choose to play them. The Giants traded for Drew Lock. They traded like a seventh round pick for him,
Oh yeah,
and the Cowboys traded a fourth round pick for Trey
for
Lance.
Trey Lance,
And neither team is playing the guy that they traded for.
Joe
Both
Callahan.
teams, both teams know what their current quarterback can do. They've seen them play before. And rather than accurately assessing what their backup quarterback who they traded for, what properly assessing what they can do, they're just letting them ride the bench. It's actually crazy.
Joe
Like
Callahan, man.
like Trey Lance might just suck if they're not willing to give him a chance.
It's what McCarthy did with Brett Hundley and all the. I love our quarterback room. We got Joe Callahan and we got Brett Hundley, and we're sticking with it.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I do remember
Yeah.
that.
So what else is gonna? He's gonna get fired anyway. So he's
Did
like,
you see the report today?
what?
Jerry Jones said to the media that he could see Mike McCarthy staying next year. He said Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach, and we're happy to have him. That's
I mean,
paraphrased.
I mean, he says stuff like that all the time.
Oh, I know, but the fact that he's saying it is a problem.
I it doesn't matter what Jerry Jones says anymore.
Correct. But can you imagine if they didn't fire him? I would just laugh all the way home.
Yeah,
Laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh.
someone must be cash poor.
Probably. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how. Well, he has to buy shades now. He
Yeah,
has to buy
I need
curtains.
Bayview blinds to take care of that sun right there.
All right, let's get into the matchup. Uh, Miami's offense this year obviously slacking a lot compared to what they've been under Mike McDaniel. Tua being out for extended period of time and a litany of injuries to a lot of their specialists hasn't helped. They're 24th in points per game at 19 and a half, 20th in yards per game at 324, 23rd in EPA per play at negative point 11, and they're 23rd in total touchdowns with 22. 19 of 33 in the red zone, and it ranks 11th with a percentage of 57.6. So, uh, the biggest thing for them or for the Packers is you got to slow down the speed that the Dolphins come at you with. Like the NFL is a copycat league. And we've seen Matt LaFleur use motion a whole lot in the last few years, and a lot of that is stemmed from the success that Mike McDaniel had with the Miami Dolphins and how much motion they incorporate into their offense. Because all in all, they're just a fast team. Between Tyreek Hill when he's healthy, Jalen Waddle is by no means slow. Um, Devon A. Chain, Raheem Mostert, and who is the other fella? Although that is A. Chain, my apologies. Are just fast. And then Odell is on this team too, also not slow. And so, like just all across their offense, they're fast. And so it's going to take a special performance by the linebackers and the secondary to keep these guys in check because, like I said, they've been playing better as of late. Again, not the highest of competition, but still playing pretty good. And so, how can Quay Walker build off of this game that he had against the San Francisco 49ers and replicate that performance against the Dolphins? Because I think he's a guy to watch in this game to see if he can not get muddied up in the offensive line or like attacking the run game in the offensive line like he talked about when we talked about cheeses. Because if he's able to hit holes and tackle guys for loss like he was doing a bit on Sunday, I think he could like switch the entire uh, flow of this game in the Packers' favor because like they're gonna want to get the run game going, especially in Green Bay on at night. It's gonna be cold. It's not gonna be frozen tundra cold, but it's not gonna be comfortable either. And so short week, you're not really gonna want to let those guys get going on the ground because you're tired, they're tired, but it's easier to get going running than it is to stop the guy that's fully going. And so, uh, hopefully, Edrin Cooper can play. That'd be a big plus for this team. But yeah, I think handling that motion, seeing how Jeff Hafley dials up his defenses and gets home to Tua if he can, would be a pretty important theme this week.
I would agree. There was we saw when the Packers played the Dolphins a couple years ago, the game where I
On
believe it
Christmas,
was yes, you're correct. It was um Rasul Douglas, I believe, came on with that clutch interception that kind of basically just was the game
that
clincher.
that ended the game. Yeah,
Um and yeah, it's the way that the Dolphins have played and the way that they have obviously when they made the deal for Tyreek a couple years ago, going
it's like
full
4 now.
Mach 10. Is that 4 years ago?
It's pretty close.
Because it was Chiefs won the Super Bowl in 20. I don't think they made the trade right after that in that offseason, and then it was the year
Um,
after
this is his third year in Miami.
22, 23,
Yeah, 20
24.
the 22 off season.
Okay. Um, but yeah, like going Mach 10 offense with their playmakers and just kind of trying to, the objective being trying to keep up with that and slow them down is how they've done it. I think Ben Solak at ESPN had a really good. His column every week is really good. Comes out every Tuesday. Could not recommend it more. But he had included very timely snippets that I obviously clued in on with the Dolphins, talking about how they have targeted base defense really well with two tight end sets. Alec Ingold, their fullback, has been hurt, so more looks with kind of I don't know what would that be 12 personnel. I'm not. I'm not
The
a.
numbers always fuck me up.
I know it's either 21. Are we playing 21? Are we playing blackjack? Is that what it is? Is it this?
I,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken,
16.
I think
Stay.
12.
I stay.
I
I
think
stay.
12 is a tight end and two receivers.
There
I'm
you go.
Keith. I know you're listening. Tell me I'm wrong in the Discord, which you
Bo
can join,
Ryan.
at gspn.substack.com in the about section. Continue.
Um. But yeah, but it's just the way that they. I mean, Mike McDaniel's a really good offensive mind. As much as I think there's a ceiling to his teams, clearly. Um, it's just a matter of for defensively, it's how did the Packers stack up against that? How do you do that with the injuries that they're facing at very important positions? I don't know. Short week does not help in that regard because it's like these guys are on the men, but you would probably play Edrin if he's feeling, up to it or close to it. Probably play Edrin Cooper if it was a Sunday game. Same with Jair Alex. Well, Jair might be a different story.
Yeah, probably not Jair.
Um, but yeah, it's just really tough with guarding the middle of the field, making sure that you're glued, connected with the Waddles, the Tyreek Hills of the world, Jonnu Smith. Like it's this is where it gets really dicey with their secondary, and it's gotten better. Obviously, having X, the emergence of Evan Williams, Javon Bullard, kind of being this Swiss Army knife, defender where he's, not to part of the pun here, but you can't just put him in a box. Safety. Um, that
That was bad.
you're welcome.
I need you to recognize that was bad.
I know. Um, but it's, you know, The Dolphins are on this upswing, and even though that they face the same criticism of can they beat the good teams? Can they play in weather that isn't balmy Miami? You mean like they have their own questions to face, but I don't think you would look at them as a slouch by any means.
No, none whatsoever, honestly. And start talking about like the offense. Like it's not like teams are getting home to Tua and whoever was playing quarterback for them when he was out. I forget who it was. Anybody good? Skylar Thompson, I believe, was one of them. Uh,
Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley,
Forgot about
Tim
that.
Boyle.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But the Dolphins are middle of the pack in sacks like allowed this year. They have allowed 27, and for context, that's 16th in the league. So like right in the middle. And so I guess there's opportunity for teams to get home against this Miami offense, especially for the Packers. But with the Packers pass rush being what it has been this year, I would hope that they'd be able to improve upon that a little bit and sack Tua once or twice. But I think the problem is that this team operates so fast and has such quick throws that it's hard to get home to Tua once in a while because the ball's out of his hands so quickly that your pass rush just doesn't even have a chance to get close. And I think that could be again another theme to watch is how does Jeff Hafley handle the short stuff. We saw that with how Caleb Williams operated against Chicago 2 weeks ago when they were fine dink and dunking down the field, getting 6-7 yards every play just because throw it to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Well, in that game it was DJ Moore and Cole Kmet and whoever. But if you're throwing it to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill as like on bubble screens on the outside, those guys are talented enough to get a good amount of yards on those plays every time. And so if that's going to be how they play, it's going to be interesting to see how the cornerbacks are able to break through those blocks and blow up those plays because we've seen it from Keyshawn a couple times this year, nothing like consistently though. And Carrington Valentine hasn't really been playing that well as Jair's backup. And so I'm not really sure how they plan on covering Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I'd imagine we're going to see a lot of deep Xavier McKinney. Like he might have a chance at a couple interceptions this game just because the sheer opportunity cost for the Dolphins to throw deep to Tyreek Hill is too high to ignore. And so if they're able to capitalize on those shots and Xavier McKinney can either break up those passes or even pick one off, him and Williams honestly, they could be in a good place to make some turnovers. But at the same time, it's hard to underthrow Tyreek Hill. Or I'm sorry, overthrow Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
And so if you just throw it as far as you can, as if you're Tua, you're not going to give X a chance to pick it if he's still over the top. So
I agree. Also, I'm looking at uh, key important stats here. This is slightly skewed because he hasn't played as many games as his counterparts. Tua Tagovailoa has the lowest pressure rate by a considerable margin. 20.1% of his dropbacks, he's been pressured. That's the best in the league.
yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. Like they just get the ball in his hand so fast that. Do you have time to throw up, or was that
Yes,
stat?
2.41 seconds.
Is that the best in the league?
Let's look.
Because you said his sack percent was the best, right? Or pressure
His
percent.
time to throw is the high or is the fastest in the league.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. They're getting the ball out to their guys that are really good in space. And so, like, if you have a chance to throw a short screen or a short slant to Devon A. Chain, Jonnu Smith, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle, easier. It's better to get them the ball earlier than it is later. And so
Yeah.
that's where I worry a bit about how this team matches up against these playmakers. And of course, they had Jalen Waddle and they had Tyreek Hill 2 years ago when the Packers played them on Christmas Day. But if you remember, Tua went out of that game with a concussion halfway through.
That's true.
And
That was
so,
a game changer.
yep, the Packers didn't win that game in a blowout. They won 26-20 after a Mason Crosby kick with like a minute and a half left, put them up by 6, and that was game sealing interception that you had referenced earlier from Rasul Douglas that helped seal that game. So yeah, I think I'm very curious how they're going to match up and what they're sort of going to scheme to slow this offense down. Like honestly, the best way to win this game might just be to do the same thing they did on Sunday, and that's just control the ball as long as they did. So, um, anything else about the Packers defense or Miami's offense you want to talk about before we head into the other sides of the ball for both teams?
Well, I mean, we obviously rightly focused on like the Hill Waddle duo, but maybe I'll save it for players to watch. But I think Devon is Achan.
Yeah,
Um, like that guy
very
is
good.
built to dismantle this Packers run defense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think he's very scary. Let's put it that way. He's fast,
He's very fast,
fast. So
fast with a capital F.
that's right. All right, let's go into the other sides of the ball for both teams, the Miami defense and the Packers offense. Some key stats about Miami's defense: they are 11th in the league at 21.5 points per game allowed, 7th in the league at 304 yards per game allowed. They're 12th in the league at negative .08 EPA per play, and then 21 TDs allowed is good for 7th. They are 14 of 29 when defending in the red zone, and they're 48% uh, mark for red zone efficiency is 7th best in the NFL. So a little less than half the time that teams get in the end zone or get in the red zone against them, they're not scoring touchdowns. So that could be an interesting stat to look for and to remember come Sunday or come Thursday. Is that Packers offense in the red zone hasn't been good this year. It was really good on Sunday against the 49ers, went 5 for 5. But what do you do against a better team that isn't injury plagued on their O line, like or on their D line, like the Niners were. Like they have good guys off the edge. They obviously don't have like a Nick Bosa type, but they still got good players. And how do you match up against a team that's so good at defending the red zone when you yourself as a team haven't been able to execute down there? So that'll be something to watch for sure. And I think like they just have players on this team. Like there's no slouches. Like if Calais Campbell plays, he's still good even at his ripe old age. Uh, Manuel Ogba is talented. Kendall Fuller, Jordan Poyer is the fellow from Buffalo that uh, is now down there. Javon Holland is good. Like Jalen Ramsey is no slouch. Uh, strong name alert. Their backup right corner. His name is Storm Duck. Strong name alert. So yeah,
Ready for duty.
uh, Chop Robinson is here. Like I think I'm not like worried. Like I'm fairly confident in this game. Rookie Chop Robinson, by the way. Um, I'm not like worried, but I think this is going to be not a as easy as a game as you have expected it to be like 3 weeks ago, prior to Tua coming back. And so without Romeo Dobbs, because again, I don't think he's playing. There's no realistic world where he should be playing after concussion sustained on Sunday. Guys are going to need to step up, and I guess who is it really? We would probably see more Jaden Reed involved. Like he's been involved a little bit in the last few weeks, but not like he was earlier in the season. Need a good Christian Watson game. Can't be dropping 60-yard touchdowns that go off your hands. Um, then wouldn't be surprised if we Tucker Craft involved as well. Like I know that sounds pretty base level analysis. Like hey, hopefully the guys that you're expecting to produce as at star levels produce at star levels. But I think
Watch out for Tucker Craft here, man.
but I think they need to in the passing game just because like I wouldn't mind running Josh Jacobs 26 times for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns again, but I wonder if that's a good thing to do long term for this team. Like I could see him dropping to like 18 carries this game just as to not work him 50 carries in 4 days kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of alarming that this Dolphins team is kind of solid defensively, given that they traded Christian Wilkins away and he
Mm-hmm.
got a big deal from the Raiders that obviously has not worked out super well.
No.
But they shedded some other like Andrew Van Ginkel went to Minnesota. Who were some? There were some other big kind of. They had a couple
Departures.
big injuries too.
Yeah.
Jalen Phillips, I think they lost him this season, some injury, but like a lot of those guys that you mentioned, like the Poyer, Kendall Fuller signings, Xavier Howard remains on side. He was,
Their
their
corner for a while.
corner for like a franchise level corner for like probably 8 9 years. They signed him to like 1 year deal, so they're kind of playing this money ball type thing. And yeah, if you look at just like the underlying stats or even just the raw stats, like it's pretty crazy how good this Dolphins defense is, especially when last year they were gonna have a near mutiny with Vic Fangio. Like they they made the trade for Bradley Chubb and gave him a huge contract that they probably regret doing. Like they going so far this way now with kind of fitting in with how this team can work defensively and making just kind of 1 year short term deals and it's clicking. Like it's pretty crazy. They have a really good um, pressure rate. It's 12th in the league, but they only have 21 sacks for the season. So it just shows you like they're getting after the quarterback,
Right.
but it's just not getting
Just
home.
not getting home. Sounds like
And
a different, a very familiar pass rush.
mhm, they're ranked ninth in rushing yards per game allowed with, and then like only was it 4.3 yards rushing yards per play allowed, which is kind of middle of the pack, but still
Yeah.
like
H-
it's I don't know.
Hilariously, they have one, two, three, four. Looks like 10 players have registered a sack for them. Uh, they have four guys with four. Chop Robinson, the rookie, Zach Sealer, their interior defensive lineman, Emmanuel Agua, and Calais Campbell all have four. And then they have six guys that have one.
Yeah.
Like there's not a big distribution of sacks there. It's just you're either getting home and you have four, or you've gotten home like once this year on a blitz. But yeah, I
Also,
think those like top four. Sorry, go ahead.
I should note Joe Barry is a part of their coaching staff. Did you know that?
I did know that he's their linebackers coach, I believe.
And defensive run game coordinator. Joe Barry is a defensive run game coordinator.
Yeah, uh, don't know how he got that job. Is what I'll say.
I can understand the linebackers coach,
Yep.
but I repeat, I won't repeat. Yeah, it does. I think I'm more as much as the offense, obviously, and the threat that it poses when they're starting to kind of feel they got a little wind under their sails. They're right off the coastline, the Atlantic,
Yeah,
and but the defense being as good as it is, and why they still kind of have a chance to compete for a playoff spot. It's not a great chance, but they have a chance. And the defense just being solid is, I don't know, that kind of could be a problem.
could be. I think like looking at some of the stats, like some of the advanced stats I'm looking at through through PFF, like Jalen Ramsey has been decent this year. Been thrown at 42 times and has two picks, um, and a 71% reception rate and pretty low yards. Like teams have been targeting Jordan Brooks a lot in the passing game. He's a linebacker, and he's been targeted 55 times. Has allowed two touchdowns, and so between him and David Long Jr., another linebacker, like they've been targeted a lot in the passing game. Both of them have pretty bad reception rates, north of 75 for Jordan Brooks, and David Long Jr. has been targeted 23 times, has allowed 22 catches. It's not.
Former Packer David Long for a brief minute there.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think like it'll be interesting to see how they match up against this defense, what they try and do, because they very well might just try and run it down their throat, which I wouldn't be opposed to. The way that they were run blocking on Sunday, by all means, go for it. Um,
Yeah,
I just worry that you then have to go to Detroit a week later, then to hopefully beat a really good team. And so how do you?
Detroit's Shock City, baby. Let's go.
I know. I just worry about the larger goal. Like I know winning games is important, but I would be more willing to work the pass game to give Josh Jacobs a little bit of rest than to uh, wear him down on a short week before a critical NFC North matchup. That's how I kind of feel at this very moment. That could very well change once I get into the moment Thursday night.
But I don't think. I mean, they might not necessarily have to do that because one, they still, as much as Romeo not having Romeo Dobbs will likely be a problem. The one thing that I wanted to look up before we recorded was just how the passing offense fell off after Dobbs got hurt because it just felt like they had maybe had
They
like one or two
stagnated.
completions.
Yeah.
Um, but like this is where Jaden Reed could step up. His
Yep.
versatility in the backfield and in the slot could really help. Christian Watson, as you mentioned, like this could be a big day for him. Tucker Kraft obviously is always good for, if not a touchdown, a critical play that puts him in scoring position, if not in the end zone itself. Um, and even like I get the Josh Jacobs of it all. Like you do, he's that important that you kind of have to not pitch count him, but you have to watch his carries a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Trust Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah.
Trust him.
I'm
The
there.
guy, like
You know
he.
I'm here for that.
Oh, I know, but like this is not a fluke. Like he is a good. First, he is a good change up to Jacobs, but like give him more series. Chris Brooks, like
Do you want to know something that bothered me the other day? I think Mater or possibly Bot might have said it in the Discord. I forget who it was, but um the the Packers running AJ Dillon last year as their primary backup,
yeah,
it just held this team back so much. Like
yeah.
Emmanuel Wilson is a north and south runner with the ability to swing it outside and break one off. Like the way he keeps his legs driving on runs is incredible. That's like I think what we want AJ Dillon to do. What if I told you this, Jordan? What if I told you that through 11 games played for both guys, both Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson, they have the same exact average yards per carry. Both are at 4.7.
I would say
I would
that's
say you
pretty
trust
impressive.
you say you trust Emmanuel Wilson a little more, right? Like
I would.
like Josh Jacobs 202 carries, 944 yards. Emmanuel Wilson 66 carries, 312 yards. So, uh like they're both of them are just capable of getting chunk yards, and we've seen that. So I'm not saying go running back by committee this game. By all means, let Jacobs be the bell cow, but maybe spell him for six other rushes and save him for a few ones, and get Emmanuel Wilson there to be a change of pace and a guy that can break one off if need be. Like I think both guys are fully capable of breaking off big runs, and we saw it honestly on Sunday against the Niners.
I agree. I just don't. The guy makes plays. The guy extends drives. What more do you need to see? If maybe pass protection and stuff, and that's why Chris Brooks hangs around, but also does serve a purpose. Regrettably, if it's not that they're leaning on him more
Yeah,
in some cases, but yeah, like we know the Packers have the options to turn to without Dobbs, with Jacobs carrying a heavy load that so much that he had to leave the game to treat cramps. Like,
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think if Jacobs goes out on Sunday, I have this sort of reaction. But I think considering that he did have to go like get treated on Sunday and come back to the sideline like once he was better, I'd rather just not push that make like push Jacobs even more 4 days after the injury. Again, when it's cold,
yeah.
because it's gonna be cold. I mean, you know what? I'm curious how cold it's gonna be because it's not gonna be warm for sure.
How cold is it?
Let's see, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Gotta go to weather.com here. Shout out the Weather Channel. 10-day for Thursday, low of 18 and slight wind, 13 miles an hour. So it's not gonna be warm, like 32 during the day, but this game starts at 7:30. Like this game, it is gonna be
It's gonna be chilly.
it's gonna be chilly, and so obviously these guys are professional athletes for the NFL. They have parkas that are heated throughout, and the heaters going on the sideline and everything. So they have all that stuff. But it doesn't mean it's less likely that they'll get injured because it's cold, because muscles tense up and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, why not give Emmanuel Wilson a couple more carries just to alleviate Josh Jacobs of that load is kind of what I'm saying, and what you're saying too, obviously.
Yeah. I got a question for you. Have you ever seen a cold dolphin in the dead of winter?
I have never seen a cold dolphin in the dead of winter, Jordan.
Well, you're gonna see it Thursday night.
I was supposed to see 51 of them probably.
I would say plus a coach, he's at so maybe like 65.
Actually, you know what? I have seen cold dolphins. You know what? That's actually a great point. This is a great point. We have seen cold dolphins in the dead of winter. They played the Chiefs last year when it was like -2 in the playoffs, and their
Was that
offense
last
that
year?
was last year because they had to go to Miami or Buffalo, whichever one it
It
was.
was
No,
no.
no, Miami was 2 years ago. Last year was Buffalo. They had to go up to Buffalo for the game because Buffalo ended up being the 2 seed, and Kansas City got the 1 seed.
But there was a Dolphins
Game in Kansas City where it was
Chiefs.
cold as shit. And
Yes.
and I think I forget who it was way back when I saw it, but when this team has to play in the cold, the offense kind of slows a little bit just because it's not as easy as you would think to run full speed as a fast motion team when it's that cold. Like I said, in the context of how often these guys play in the cold, it's not that cold, but looking at their schedule, I'm curious as to what their coldest game would have been played yet this so far. Their coldest game, if you're just like trends wise, probably was November 3rd in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So you're still end of fall kind of time. Might have been cold. I don't really know what the game was, but they
Oh
lost
yeah,
that game
yeah.
by 3.
It was last year. Um,
The Chiefs game
Chiefs
was?
won. Yeah, Chiefs won 26-7.
Yeah,
It was -4
yeah,
degrees
it was
by
cold.
kickoff.
How, read off the stats for that game because I think that says a lot about how they played because
That
Miami was a
was
really good offense last year. Like they were high flying. Like Tyreek was on pace for like 2,000 yards as a receiver, and he did not have a good game. I'm pretty sure.
second most points uh for scored, I should say, in the league last year.
hmm
And as you mentioned, Tyreek Hill had how many yards?
62. He led the team with 62
He had
yards.
eight. Well, he had 1,800 yards on the season.
Oh yeah,
Tua
sorry.
had the most passing yards in the league.
Yeah, but I have the box score from
But
that
yeah,
game up right now. Tua threw for 200 and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill had 5 catches on 8 targets for 62 yards. Um, Raheem Mostert had 33 yards on 8 carries. Devon Achane had 6 carries for 9 yards. Um, Jalen Waddle had 5 targets, only 2 catches for 31 yards. Like obviously the Chiefs defense was really good last year and such, but I think there is something to this team playing in cold weather that slows them down a bit because it is just that much harder to be a motion high speed offense when your muscles don't want to go that fast. So that's hashtag science. Thanks for coming to Numac Science Hour. Anything else,
There's
Jordan?
all.
Uh we talked about kind of who's stepping up to replace Romeo Dobbs. I think, and I'm not excited to say this, I think we're gonna see more Dante mix this game than we want to. I think by just nature
I
of,
don't know. I mean, if he plays well, then he plays
well,
well.
of
But
course, if
yeah,
he plays well, but he hasn't really had that.
no,
He's kind of lost the benefit of the
he
doubt,
hasn't.
right?
He hasn't had that breakthrough yet.
No, he's lost the benefit of the doubt this year on having trust in him to play well. I want him to play well. I want him to succeed. Of course I do. But you put a guy with drop issues into a situation where it's cold out and the football's a little harder.
I mean,
It's
that's what he needs.
maybe, maybe.
Just like Bob Seger once said, "Like a rock."
There's just no way. It's a great song. I cannot believe you sang it though. Oh, that was great. Oh, that was
Oh,
great. I don't like the face you're making with this. It's too much. It's too much. So we're moving on. We're moving on. Hoping that Dave Owens plays well. That's our hope. Players to watch and fantasy players, Jordan. Who are your players to watch? Actually, no, it's my turn to go
you know,
first.
yeah. But your Numac was very much like clean up on aisle 9. We need to get the hell out of here.
That's right.
Uh,
It is my
you
turn to
go.
go
You go
first.
first.
Um,
Which side are you starting?
Packers,
Okay.
and I'm going to go with. Oh, such a hard decision. I'm debating going like like Xavier McKinney. I think he could have a huge impact in how this team is like take shots down the field. At the same time, I want to say like Evan Williams for his ability to like diagnose the plays in the flat, as he did a really good job with last week. Um, but then like Josh Jacobs is there too. Um, I want to say Quay Walker, but I don't have that much faith in him to actually like do the thing. I need to see it replicated more than once. So, I'm gonna go X. I'll go Xavier McKinney, just because
Hmm.
I think at some point this team is gonna take shots down the field, and how he's able to play those plays is gonna be a big difference in how this game plays out. Because if he can be a force and have some PBUs and maybe have an interception or two, I think that'll be uh, a big swing in the game on Thursday.
I'm gonna go Jordan Love. Jordan Love. I think he is the key to obviously carrying the offense to some degree, whether they, depending on what the how the game shakes out, what is the balance that they want to achieve with the run game and passing game. I think even if it's more of a run heavy game, you're still going to need those throws to get completed and making extending drives, getting the ball to your best wideouts, having some whether it's a Wicks or a Malik Heath, having unlikely guys step up to the occasion. you know, he's been efficient to some degree. Like the Bears game, I think he played better than just that pick showed. But last week it was really rough after Dobbs left.
Yeah.
Second half, largely too. It just he's still finding that middle now that he's fully healthy. But yeah, it would just be a bad sign if Jordan Love is throwing 30 to 35 times on Thursday night, and considering the weather, what it's going to be like, don't think that's a recipe for success. So I think how the offense goes and what they're able to achieve on the ground, whether it's Jacobs, Wilson, or running back by committee, I think having the 1-2 punch of what Jordan Love can get the ball to with
Mm-hmm.
his choice wideouts, they'll determine the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a great point. Who's your Dolphin?
HN.
God damn it. Stole mine.
It's he's this could be like 130-yard rushing game.
Yeah, it
You
certainly
know,
could. Yeah. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities whatsoever. Um, damn it, you stole mine. Uh, I'm gonna go. I'll go Tua. He's obviously the straw that stirs their drink, and so if he can't get it going, it's gonna be a hard day for them. I know. Deep cut analysis. So, predictions. I'm gonna go 28-24 Packers.
28-24 Packers.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be a little. I think we're gonna be very frustrated with this game.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is the exact case.
23-20 Packers. I think it's very close.
All right. Back on track and back on track of us together. Love that. After we separated last week, and who in our
No, I
predictions,
thought I picked the. I think I picked the Packers.
I picked the Niners.
You
I
did.
did.
Heresy.
I did not think Brock Purdy was gonna miss the game. Was my
No.
and honestly it
Well, I remember you were like, "Hey, they should really start." God, what's his name? I can't think of the other guy that they have.
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. See, I already my joke already lost steam.
All right. I'm glad you.
Gosh, Dobbs it.
I was gonna commend you for punting on the joke, and then you lay out that one. So, all right, folks, that does it for this episode of Talk of the Tundra. Uh, no promises, but for all intents and purposes, I think Jordan and I's plan right now is to go live after the Miami Dolphins game on Thanksgiving, so you'll get a bit of holiday cheer from the top boys. So, we'll put that out on social media. Tune in after the game before you fully recover from your Thanksgiving feast if you'd like to tune in for the post game win or loss. Um, check out all things GSPN at the Substack, gspnsubstack.com. All of our pods there um, are ad free if you subscribe for, like I said, $8 a month. Bucks win tonight against the Miami Heat with no Chris and with no Giannis. Made us sweat a little more than we wanted to, but
The hardest working team in show business, the
yeah,
Milwaukee
they
Bucks.
always make it exciting. They always make it exciting. So go check out the Bucks feed with Ty and Rohan on Eurostep and Adam and Jordan on Win and Six. Uh, Brewers kind of entering their off season now a little bit. They're solely not in the Juan Soto sweepstakes, obviously, but
There was some MLB action as we've been recording. I don't know if you saw.
did not see that.
Blake Snell signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers for a 5-year, $182 million contract.
Re-signed with them, but yeah, he was already on that team.
Wasn't he on the Giants?
I don't think so. We're gonna do some baseball stuff right now. Uh, who was? Oh no,
He's
Glasnow was on that team. That's who it was.
Glasna.
Blake Snell was, like you said. Yes, you're right on the Giants. I forgot that. I got Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow mixed up.
I know
So
kissing Snell.
unsurprising, the Dodgers make a good move. So, um, go check out go subscribe to the Cruising for a Bruising to be up to date when all those pods drop, and then make time for the Junk Drawer pod with Adam and Andrew. They'll be, I think they just dropped their Megalopolis episode, and I'm not sure if they're doing one on their trip to Adam, or, sorry, Andrew's trip to Europe to take in all of the footy games. But if you're interested in football, the kicking one of sorts, they recorded the episode of GSPN After Dark last week talking about this trip and what they're all going to do and talking about soccer and the whole 9 yards. So go check out that if you're interested. Thank you for listening, folks. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and your bellies are full and you get to spend time with your family should you want to, or whoever your family is. Enjoy it. Have a good one. We'll see you Thursday night in Jordan. Thank you as always.
Hey, thank you.